Hello chess friends and welcome to another video from this legend, Viswanathan Anand, the Iron Tiger. And in this game he will be playing against Vassily Ivanchuk. So let's take a look at that. Another genius, the Ukrainian genius Vassily Ivanchuk. So this is a beautiful game. It was played in Linares 1998. Let's take a look at that. Vassily Ivanchuk opens with e4, and Viswanathan Anand goes with the Sicilian, very sharp, very aggressive opening. Knight f3, d6, d4 opening, the Sicilian pawn takes, knight takes, and knight f6. Attacking the central pawn, knight c3 defending, and now knight c6. Anand goes for the classical variation for the Sicilian defense, and now bishop g5 was played, just attacking the knight and trying to control better the center. E6 was played, and now queen to d2 and bishop to e7, just unpinning the knight and protecting the knight and developing a piece. Long castling here from Vassily Ivanchuk, and now short castling here from Vassily Anand, Viswanathan Anand, and then we are having here opposite side castling. So this is going to be a very aggressive game, because now white will attack here on the king side and black is going to attack on the queen side, and we have a very interesting attack and beautiful game between those two geniuses from chess. F3 was played, now protecting the pawn on e4 and also preparing to push g4 and start a storm here, a pawn storm on the king side. Knight takes d4 was played, queen takes d4, and now a6, controlling the b5 square, preparing to push b5 and b4, and now h4. Already attacking on the king side. Vassily Ivanchuk, really a great attacker. Viswanathan Anand protects, also attacks here with b5, now attacking on the queen side, and now king to b1, just putting the king into safety, removing the king from this diagonal and from this column here. And here Viswanathan Anand continues with queen to c7, just preparing to push b4 in the future, not now because the queen is guarding there, but already putting pressure here on the C column. H5 was played, and now h6, so limiting this pawn and attacking the bishop. And here Vassily Ivanchuk could play here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with capturing here the knight with the idea of decoying here the defense of the pawn on d6. It would be very playable here to capture the knight and then capture the pawn, and it could follow like this, just protecting the queen. And yes, Vassily Ivanchuk would have an extra pawn here. He would be a pawn up, but Anand would have the bishop pair and maybe a good attack here on the queen side. So maybe Vassily Ivanchuk preferred not to play this against Viswanathan Anand. So that's why he played bishop to h4, and now Viswanathan Anand continues with bishop to b7, just developing the bishop and leaving the c8 square for the rook. Knight e2 was played, maneuvering the knight. This knight would be kicked off anyway. So rook from a to c8, now putting pressure here on c2, and queen d2 defending here on c2, and also putting some pressure here on the king side as well. Rook from f to d8. Now black is putting another defense here on d6, maybe planning to push here to d5 the pawn, and rook e1 was played, a very beautiful move, rook e1, very strong move, because now black cannot play d5, which seems to be a very good move here in this position, but now white could counter here with e5. Look at this line, this is a beautiful line. After queen takes e5, then white could continue with bishop to g3, and now the queen has not many squares to go. Queen to g5 would be possible. Now bishop to f4, just chasing the queen. And after the queen goes to f5, then white comes with knight to d4, pushing back the queen to h7, and then bishop to d3, attacking the queen again, and the queen would have to go to h8. So that would be a disaster for Viswanathan Anand to have to go with the queen to the h8 square. I mean, it would not be playing at all. So that's why Viswanathan Anand doesn't play here d5, and instead he goes for e5, a move that it's a very surprising move. I mean, you don't want to make this pawn a backward pawn normally and just give so much control of the d5 square for the white pieces. So that's an amazing move, e5, and we will see Viswanathan Anand ideas very soon. So bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, and now knight goes back to c3, taking full control of d5. Bishop g5 attacking the queen, and now queen goes to d1 into safety, and now queen a5, and already Viswanathan Anand cooperation between the bishop, the rook, and the queen is making all the difference here in this position. Beautiful position, and I mean it's really difficult to find a move here. For example, if white tries to bring another defense here with bishop to d3, then black is threatening to capture here on c3. Rook takes c3, and after pawn takes c3, black could continue with rook to c8, and because of this, bishop is taking those black squares here. Just white is just doomed. There is no way to defend on c3 and stop this attack from the black pieces. So that's why here Vassily Ivanchuk played here knight to d5, just removing the piece that was to be captured. And now bishop takes d5 anyway, e takes d5, and in this position it seems that white has managed to stop Viswanathan Anand attack, but Viswanathan Anand now plays a very astonishing move here in this position. Very beautiful move, and if you want to pause the video now and try to find the move, it's a good idea, and I hope you have found this move. Rook takes c2, a monster move, a brilliant move here from the Indian legend Viswanathan Anand, just sacrificing the rook now to get a very sharp, a very strong attack. I mean, the queen cannot capture here on c2 because the rook on e1 is hanging, because white was never able to develop this bishop to connect the rooks. So that makes the magic in this position. So the queen cannot capture, and what can you do? Vassily Ivanchuk is forced to capture. I mean, any other move is just terrible. Black is threatening rook to c1 and just winning the queen. So that's why the game continued with king takes c2, and now queen takes a2. Yes, I mean, look at this position. Viswanathan Anand is playing with a rook down a rook here, and just with this very strong attack. This rook can do nothing. So it doesn't matter the quantity of material now, because this rook is just not playing. So the game continued with f4, and now rook to c8 check. The king goes to d2, and now this very beautiful king hunt. Bishop takes f4 check. The king goes to e2, queen takes b2 check, the king goes to f3, and in this position, Viswanathan Anand makes the last move here, the finishing move. If you want to pause the video and try to find the finishing move, it's a very, very nice attack here from Viswanathan Anand. Now he's playing a lot of moves here down a rook, and now he finishes the game with rook to c1. I hope you have found this move. And in this position, Vassily Ivanchuk resigned the game, and it's not that easy to understand why did he resign the game. And he resigned the game because I mean, where can you put this the queen? The queen has to guard the rook, otherwise black is just capturing the rook and continuing with the attack. So what happens after white plays queen e2? Then black would be able to play queen to c3 check, and I mean you cannot block this check, so you would have to play king to f2, and then queen d4 check, not allowing the king to escape. And after king goes to f3, then rook to c3, just joining the attack and forcing the king to go just too far over the board, like king to g4, and now rook to g3 check. And after the king goes to h4, black can win here. There is mate in 3 moves, a very beautiful checkmate here, with bishop to g5, sacrificing another rook. And after the king takes on g3, and you cannot stop the checkmate. After queen f4 and king h3 and now queen h4 checkmate, the king has nowhere else to go. So that's why after rook to c1, Vassily Ivanchuk resigned the game. A beautiful game here from this Indian chess legend, Viswanathan Anand. Let's take a look at the chess.com report. 95.2 accuracy here for Viswanathan Anand with 1 brilliant move. That's amazing. Against 86.3, we see that Vassily Ivanchuk really played very well at the beginning, and then Viswanathan Anand would be able to just get small advantages and just make those brilliant finishes and to win this game. Amazing game. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for your audience, and see you next video. Bye.